I can see the safety car coming into the background. There's one light, two lights, three lights, four lights, five lights, and it's go, go, go! And straight in. Lift me up, 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 lift me up.
Bonjour and welcome to the Paul Ricard circuit here just outside of Marseille. The Castellet is the host of the 6th round of the Formula 1 World Championship as we complete and follow the rise of Ravenwest. Oh, what a perfect afternoon we've got for motor racing. Just short of 23 degrees, the sun's out, barely few of clouds in the sky. The south of France is looking just about as perfect as it can be. But for one driver this afternoon, this could be the perfect afternoon to celebrate in the south of France. The Paul Ricard circuit itself essentially is a giant oval with long runoffs, wide track areas, and there's an opportunity for lots of overtaking with 4 incredibly fast straights that these cars will go down. And one man that knows about driving incredibly fast, well, it's the great Michael Schumacher.
Paul Ricard's superb facilities and location made it very popular with drivers and teams alike. Named after the man who built it in 1969, drinks magnate Paul Ricard. This track became the home of the French Grand Prix, following the demise of the circuits of Reims and Clermont-Ferrand. Passing the pits, we accelerate up to around 190 miles an hour, heading for the left-right sweep at Verrerie. After Verrerie, the chicane. Then it's into the right-handers at L'École and Saint-Paul. And then the left-hander leading onto the famous 1 mile Mistral Straight. The fatal testing accident of the very popular Elio De Angelis in 1985 resulted in a panic move which virtually cut the Mistral Straight in half. This turns into the very fast Senior Bend. Leading to Beausset, a semicircle. And that brings us to the Bendor chicane. Then it's round the hairpin. Sweeping right towards the left-hander Latour, which brings us to the final corner on the circuit. Oh, and back onto the pit straight to begin another fast lap. In 1991, the French Grand Prix was moved to Magny-Cours for French political reasons.
Well, the Renault-powered Formula 1 World Championship winning car. Instructors and all driven by Michael Schumacher, showing us what he can do. This afternoon, though, it's time for the new generation to show us just what they can do. The Paul Ricard circuit, we have a usual suspects locking out the front row of the grid. Lewis Hamilton is alongside Valtteri Bottas that takes pole position this afternoon. And it's Lewis Hamilton that will be hoping for a much better start in the Grand Prix. Challenging for the championship, 7 times world champion is looking to make it a perfect 8. And here today in La Castella, it's going to be an important start, and the start itself will be controlled by Valtteri Bottas. And Lewis Hamilton sits second on the first row, the only 2 cars to break the 129s in qualifying. From everybody else, it's in the 130s no one's, and on the second row, Nico Hülkenberg is alongside Daniel Ricciardo. A Renault team in second place is going to do wonders for their morale. Charles Leclerc is on the third row alongside Max Verstappen, and in the fourth row, Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari is alongside George Russell in the McLaren. Grosjean and Esteban Ocon take out 9th and 10th. Carlos Sainz is in 11th. Giovinazzi makes 13th. After a 10-place grid penalty, Mick Schumacher is all the way down in 15th. Matsushita and Alex Albon make up 18th and 17th respectively. Zhou and Perez in the Williams are 19th and 20th. And in the 20th and 22nd position is Lando Norris and Nicholas Latifi. And one of these 22 drivers, I can assure you today, will definitely win the French Grand Prix. Who? You're going to have to stick around with us. So, we're watching the drivers get themselves ready on the formation app and getting set to go. Valtteri Bottas on the left of your screen. Lewis Hamilton is on the right. Nico Hülkenberg, a winner at Canada, sitting behind. And there is the all-yellow of Daniel Ricciardo, very much representing the home time team today. There is Lewis Hamilton getting ready. And there is Valtteri Bottas sitting on pole, waiting for the moment, and this is what we're waiting for. 5 lights, and then we know that the French Grand Prix is underway. And there it is, it's off and away, and there's a bit of wheel spin straight away there from Valtteri Bottas to get us going. Bottas is away, brilliant start that is by Hülkenberg. He's shot through again. Lewis Hamilton found himself down in 4th place. Ricciardo has got through into pole position. Brilliant start by Hülkenberg. Look at that, from 4th all the way into 2nd. He's absolutely flying at the moment as well. There is Ricciardo at the moment in 3rd place. He's got Lewis Hamilton that started 2nd, and I'd love to be able to see that start again from Lewis Hamilton because it just all went wrong from him on that cruel moment. Bottas leads, Hülkenberg is 2nd, Ricciardo is 2nd, and Hülkenberg is flying at the moment, trying to make a move here as they go ahead and make their way towards turn 3. This is a key moment, and that is Lewis Hamilton defending what he can to get past Charles Leclerc. Can't do it, Leclerc's got past. Brilliant manoeuvre that was, fantastic. George Russell was also through in the McLaren, past Sebastian Vettel, and that looks to be a bit of debris coming off, and Hülkenberg here just having to defend off Ricciardo, at the same time trying to make a move to get past Valtteri Bottas, but at the same time it's back where you started in the first few laps. We've got 2 trains at the moment appearing. A set of 3 are following a set of 3, and now we have the Red Bull to look out for. This is a key moment in the contest. Romain Grosjean with Sebastian Vettel ahead of him at the moment, and Vettel of course is chasing down George Russell, the Englishman, in the McLaren. Let's see what can happen in the next few laps. Can George Russell finally shake off his bad luck this season and really go ahead and deliver a potential performance that we know that he's capable of? So we're coming through to complete lap 1 here of the French Grand Prix, and Valtteri Bottas lead. Hulkenberg is 2nd, Ricciardo is 3rd, and it looks as if one of the Williamses has had a bit of a problem because Perez has shot back down the grid, and so far it's been an extraordinary start by Hulkenberg.
Well, he got the better traction off the line, and Lewis Hamilton had a terrible start, and you can see here Hulkenberg's all over the back of Valtteri Bottas. The Mercedes not having a good time, or at least one of them isn't.
Well, it's been said when Mercedes do find themselves in traffic, they're struggling, and it's showing by Lewis Hamilton down in 5th, and Bottas at the moment is leading the way and really having to defend deep at the moment. And there you go, he's having to defend from Hulkenberg that's having a little sniff, and that looks to be an accident. That looks to be 2 cars that have had an accident. Sainz is out, Stroll is certainly out from that, and the safety car's been brought out, and we're barely 4 minutes into the 2nd lap of this Grand Prix, and we've got a major incident that's taking place, and a safety car, and what rotten luck that is for Lance Stroll, but it looks as if he was hit by Carlos Sainz rather heavily from behind.
I don't know if there was a problem beforehand, whether we're going to see a replay. We are. Let's have a look on board and see what happened. This is Mick Schumacher tussling with Stroll initially. Do a better camera, here we go. Oh, he didn't leave Schumacher enough space, and then Sainz has collected him, so it's not even Sainz at fault here. We're going to see it from his position. Yeah, Stroll's just all out of shape by that point, and Sainz has got nowhere to go, so Sainz, if anything, has somehow ended up in a bad position through no fault of his own.
Rotten luck for Carlos Sainz, who will need a new nose cone, as I should say, but in this situation, what a time to pit, and here we go. We've got a Mercedes in the pit. It is Lewis Hamilton to come in. Change of tyres there. moving on to the medium compound, so straight away doesn't fancy the softs and fancies a more longer game perhaps.
Yeah, he's got rid of his soft tyres straight away, so he's essentially got free choice of tyres from here on out. And given the start that he had, he's probably just cutting his losses and trying to play the long game. Sainz obviously is going to get his front wing replaced, and he may well do the same. And obviously everyone else, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because now all the people on soft tyres can extend their window, and the people on mediums can drag that out even more. And if you're on hard tyres here, you could probably go almost the whole race distance at this point. So strategically, an early safety car really just throw a cat amongst the pigeons.
21 cars out of 22 running. If you are just tuning in, we're on the third lap of the French Grand Prix. A safety car has been called out after an accident involving Lance Stroll and Mick Schumacher. Carlos Sainz was also involved. Mick Schumacher's got away and has found himself in the points, starting 15th. So a brilliant start from the young German to get himself into 10th place. And from this standpoint, on this sort of strategy, Lewis Hamilton's made a move. So if you come in and you see Lewis Hamilton in 19th, he has pitted under safety car. He's gone onto medium compound tyres. It could be a strategic move, because there could be the chance here Lewis Hamilton may be thinking of going long into the race. That is the Williams which you are looking at the moment, the Williams Jaguar. It's a rather beautiful livery there of Sergio Perez, and behind him is Nicholas Latifi, and Lewis Hamilton sits behind them and ready to go. That's your race leader, Valtteri Bottas. We are still racing, even though this safety car is out. And it's only fair that we go ahead and just review the rules of what you must do under a safety car and how the safety car is controlled by race control.
Well, obviously you can't overtake under the safety car, which that's a fairly standard rule. And when the safety car comes in, well, you have to wait until you cross the safety car line before you can start racing again. Of course, Michael Schumacher, all those years ago, back in 2010, made that cheeky move at Monaco, where he technically waited for the safety car line, but obviously it was the last lap, so you couldn't overtake technically. But there has been some confusion with that in the past, and obviously Lewis Hamilton has run it very close with the safety car line at Baku. I can remember his engineer Bono saying you were very close to the safety car line when you made that move, because he almost took the safety car before it went into the pits. So that's a very grey area rule. Obviously the rest is quite simple. No contact with other drivers either. If you make contact, it's an immediate penalty, because obviously you should be maintaining a safe distance at all times until we go racing again. So but sometimes there are scenarios where the pit lane is closed. In this one, pit lane is open, so everyone's been allowed to pit as they please. But when the pit lane is closed, they just have to stay out there and wait until it opens again. But other than that, it's quite simple. Stay in a line, keep your order, no overtaking, and whatever you do, don't hit the safety car like Perez did in Australia, which was almost comical.
Well, the safety car itself is driven to the absolute maximum ability. Today it's driven by Ewan McIntyre. The safety car itself never used to be a high-performance car. It would be a car to keep the cars on the track, but there was complaints from a lot of the drivers around the tyres themselves getting too cold. And indeed, one of the very first safety cars ever used was indeed a Renault Clio, powered and engineered by the Williams Formula 1 team back in the early 90s. The lights are off, so that means now that the safety car is going to come in. So now, essentially, Valtteri Bottas becomes a safety car, and from his position here, all he's got to do is to go ahead and hold everybody up. And you can see to the left of all those that are on tyres, and you can see the top 8 at the moment, all on softs. It's only Esteban Ocon in the other Renault sitting in 9th, that's sitting in mediums other than that. So a lot of the midfield and backwards here going for mediums, a lot of the faster cars sitting on softs, and this is definitely going to be helping these soft tyres. The fact that they haven't got so much usage as they would have in full racing times. This could buy the soft tyres a lap or two, and we're back under and we're racing in, and Hulkenberg has stayed very close. No DRS, we have to wait for that to be announced here by race control. But Bottas is just trying to defend and can defend no more, because Hulkenberg's able to get past with a quite brilliant brave manoeuvre. There goes Nico Hulkenberg, just able to fly past. He's got a real trouble here. He's really struggling to get hold of that Ravenwest and keep it straight and true. But as they make their way through turn 6, they'll make their way through the little kink of turn 7, and then it's on to another fast straight. And then from that point here, these cars are going to be hitting something close to their maximum speed. And with no DRS, this is full mechanical grip, this is full power that they've got. Hulkenberg defends, sitting beside him is Valtteri Bottas, goes round the outside, brilliant manoeuvre that is as well. But don't look out behind, because there is Leclerc, there is Daniel Ricciardo, and Ricciardo might have just got himself past Hulkenberg and maybe chasing down Bottas. The two of them are through. There goes Nico Hulkenberg flying away. What a fantastic bit of racing and accident! And that looks like Albon that's out. Oh, what a horrible accident!
Oh well, this is just we've only just got off the previous safety car. There'll surely have to be a safety car for this one, and well, that was a very not very polite overtaking manoeuvre by that Alfa Romeo there. I'm pretty sure Albon will be pretty unhappy with that one. Let's see from his teammate's position here, who's at fault here. Well, there from that angle, it looks like Albon moved across. So take your pick as to who's to blame for that one. Having a crash on the straight, it's only a virtual safety car, so maybe Albon can drive it off the track and out of the way still. He did have the engine running still, so only a virtual safety car. So fingers crossed, that means we can get back to racing as soon as possible.
Well, the Alfa Romeo was having joy here with the accident. A virtual safety car is called. Essentially, it will be limited to the amount of times that you can do, but there is no need for the full safety car to be available. Valtteri Bottas will lead, and there will be no overtaking, but the cars themselves will not be at full racing speed. They will, however, be moving relatively quickly, still quicker than that they would have just as the accident is moved off the track. So, Alex Albon and Lance Stroll are both out.
Oh, green flags.
And here we go. And now we're waiting for a key moment in this race thus far. Remember, this is only lap 6. We have 27 laps to go, and this has been quite brilliant entertainment at the moment. But this long circuit, these cars will lap at around about the 1 minute 30s or so. You will start to pick up and get quicker as time goes on, as they burn off more fuel and start challenging. And there is Leclerc having to defend George Russell, who's had some rotten luck this season thus far, and as Russell found enough through, it looks like it, and they're three abreast as they come through. They're both Ferraris racing against Romain Grosjean, the hometown hero, and there's both Ferraris again, Leclerc and Vettel. This is perilously dangerous, and you'd better be a fan of the Fiso right now, because this is quite terrifying to watch. You've got two drivers refusing to yield, and Charles Leclerc gets the better of the 4 times world champion, and Daniel Ricciardo here is trying to get himself past the Canadian Grand Prix race winner of Nico Hulkenberg, and just at that moment you wondered if that was the chance. Now Ricciardo has it, but Max Verstappen is also involved in this, and now Max Verstappen may be able to fight himself past Daniel Ricciardo as they go into turn 1. Yes, brilliant bit of driving that was by Verstappen. And he might just lose the line though as they make their way through down into turn 3. Daniel Ricciardo has just enough to him. 3 the sharp right, 4 the long left, and they will go a really tight right-hander. They're side by side again, none able to squeeze each other out, down to the fact that they have such wide runoffs in both of these circuits. Now Ricciardo picks it up, that's turn 7. These cars will be doing just short of 200 mile an hour on this back straight, and that'll be the key moments of this race. Now this is Verstappen trying to get past Ricciardo as they break to go through to turn 8. Oh, that's another accident, and that's Leclerc. Oh, Charles Leclerc is out of the French Grand Prix.
Well, he's stuck his nose in where he really shouldn't be, and he's got offline there, and he's been, well, it looks like he's been clouted from behind here. Let's have a look at the rear-facing camera. So he's on the inside line, and oh well, Romain Grosjean has just done his best torpedo impression and gone straight into the back of him. It's well, yeah, Leclerc looking a little despondent with that one. There's Bottas pits.
Well, fire was interceptor, because that has ruled Leclerc out of this French Grand Prix. Out comes the safety car yet again. And let's get set to go. Now with pit stop happening, Valtteri Bottas decided to come in, and a lot of cars
are using the window to come in. He's got to wait.
Well, he's been held up massively by traffic, so it's not really worked out for Bottas in any shape that he would have hoped. And then coming in at last place is Ravenwest.
Yeah, well, everyone going straight onto another set of soft tyres as well. Nobody going for another long stint. And that's worked out pretty well for Schumacher. He's going to come out back in 15th where he started, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but Bottas has dropped all the way to 12th though. That's disastrous for him, given that he was the race leader all of about 30 seconds ago.
Lewis Hamilton now is up to 9th place. He's playing the long game, and he has pitted, so his tyres will keep longer. Everybody ahead of him has yet to pit. That includes the race leader Nico Hulkenberg.
I think the French crowd is going a bit wild right now because they've suddenly looked up and Ocon and Gasly are in 2nd and 3rd all of a sudden, and a French-powered Ravenwest is in 1st. So there's a lot of French flags suddenly adorning the crowd all of a sudden.
Well, French Formula 1 fans have been starved since the great Alain Prost retired. They had to wait till Gasly won last season for them to really celebrate and get back into it, but they do have a real challenger and a real great racer in Pierre Gasly. Some have said, when will he go ahead and sign for Renault, this young Frenchman? We should have to wait and see if that is the case with the usual transfers and wheeler dealings that take place between drivers. It's around about the summer break that's coming up very shortly that we start to find out what could happen for next season and who may sign. After this, we will go to Austria, to the A1 ring, and then before our break, well, it's the big one for all of us, the halfway point of the Formula 1 season. We're off to Northamptonshire and Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, and then we will take a little break while we get ourselves set. And all these drivers are going to get themselves set again, because this is the 3rd stoppage in this race thus far. We've had 2 safety cars, this is the 2nd, and a virtual safety car. We're watching Lance Stroll here in the Williams, chasing all the way from the back. And from this standpoint, Nico Hulkenberg at the moment particularly has the entire race to control from where he stands at the moment.
Yeah, they do. Latifi in 10th place has done. Keep in mind that he started, what was it, on one of the 2 back rows to now be in 10th place. Williams have played an absolute blinder strategically with that one. And on medium tyres as well. He could be in there for the long haul, but race control certainly. This is a very high-speed circuit, so as much as there's a lot of runoff, if anything's stuck on the circuit, you have to really, unless it can remove itself, which is what happened with Albon earlier, then they have to wait for the stewards to remove the hazard. So it's not particularly. It's a difficult one for race directors to deal with, but. It's one that it's very cut and dry with decisions being made, so they can manage it well.
Well, ever since Formula 1 sacked Michael Massey as race director, we haven't had any sort of controversy or problems here in the rise of Ravenwest Season 2, and it's good to see that they are being sensible and correct in their use of safety cars and following all the rules prescribed. Something about AI making sure that no error happen. Of course, here today, this afternoon, let's not forget that Latifi sitting in 10th place driving a Williams, and Williams itself has a great association with France. The Williams Renault-powered car that dominated the 92, 93 and 96 and 97 Formula 1 World Championships was always a favourite around these parts, and none will forget the great days of Mansell, Prost, Hill and Villeneuve driving behind the Williams car led by Frank Williams, of course, and we'll be hoping today that his legacy and his family are watching on, because since they have exited the sport of Formula 1, Nicholas Latifi might just be able to deliver a little bit of good news for them. Hulkenberg is standing set. He knows from this position that he does have the softer tyres. He does have a very powerful car, and this is a circuit in which there are 4 very fast straights. The cars themselves will be pretty much, as they come out of turn 7 and go through down the back straight, will be hitting just over 200 mile an hour, pretty much their maximum speeds. And the yellow flags are out, but they're out no more because the safety cars come in and we're back on there and racing, and a lightning start by Hulkenberg that shot away Esteban Ocon is 2nd, Gasly is still 3rd, Zhang Zhuai in the Alfa Romeo is 4th, but everybody up till P8 is yet to pit. Lewis Hamilton is the only person in the top 10 that has pitted thus far, and George Russell goes past Nicholas Latifi, and George Russell's got into the points in that McLaren. And he's had some rotten luck this season, George Russell, but some have touted just how good a talent that he is, and just how well that he is racing. Could this be the key moment for him? This goes a key moment for Ocon, and Esteban Ocon looks to try and get through, and Esteban Ocon at the moment has done enough, got past Hulkenberg and leads the French Grand Prix.
Well, it's a Frenchman in a French car leading, but not for long. Hulkenberg's immense power comes flying back into it. Keep an eye on Gasly as well, he'll be looking to pounce.
Well, just for a short moment, but when was the last time two French Formula 1 drivers were challenging for the lead of the French Grand Prix? I'm sure we've got to go back to the days of Alain Prost and René Arnoux in the early to mid 1980s for that to be the case. But here this evening in 2022, we are watching a brilliant Grand Prix race taking place. Now there goes Bottas, who has caught up Lewis Hamilton, and Bottas has Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo and Mick Schumacher sitting behind him. And after all of that, Latifi at the moment, he's been shot all the way back, and now we're looking at the Williams trying to make a move, and there it is. So McLaren is alongside and is past. Russell again is continuing to make paces past Daniel Kvyat with ease, and Russell at the moment is absolutely flying in that McLaren.
He is indeed. The Renault-powered McLaren, let's not forget, as Bottas has a big lock up there. Next up for Russell is Lando Norris, who's had a fantastic race himself. The top five is incredible. Hulkenberg, Ocon, Gasly, Zhou, Matsushita, Sainz in 6th, Norris in 7th is also rather incredible. It's those safety car periods have really jumbled the order, and you've got the two Jaguar Williams as well challenging for points. This really is a wide open race.
Yeah, it's some people have said that, oh, looks to be off. Who's that? That's Gasly! Gasly's out! Gasly's out of the French Grand Prix!
Oh, and Kvyat! That's Kvyat as well. Both AlphaTauris out on the same spot. What has happened?
Oh, what rotten luck for AlphaTauri, but what on earth happened here?
Oh, well, Gasly's stranded there, and Kvyat's just taking evasive manoeuvres and ends up collecting Bottas. It's bad luck for Bottas as well. That's going to really ruin his race. But what happened to Gasly? I don't know what happened with Gasly. Yeah, look, Kvyat's just trying to go round him, and he's ended up being shunted by the Mercedes. That's, oh well, for AlphaTauri, that's an absolute disaster. Both cars out, and green flags being shown. So clearly the two AlphaTauris have been able to drive off track and out of the way. So straight back under racing. That is one advantage, that they didn't sustain damage where they were stranded. They've still got their engines running, so they got themselves out of the way. So back under racing we go.
It now means that we have 17 drivers of 22 still running. Antonio Giovinazzi at the moment has set the fastest lap of the race, and there goes some heavy braking taking place in the Haas at the moment, who's at the moment defending Matsushida's got two McLarens behind him, got Sainz and Russell, and Sainz and Russell are racing one another either, as both McLarens start to make their way forward. Of course, Carlos Sainz with that shock win at the start of last season, getting that first win for McLaren in many a year, now making moves, and now here is the big race. That's Sainz, Russell ahead of him. He's chasing Matsushita, and George Russell here in the McLaren is absolutely flying and producing a brilliant Grand Prix at the moment. But still leading is the championship challenger Nico Hulkenberg. He's got Esteban Ocon ahead of him, and now this is another overtaking spot which is taking place, and Matsushita in the Haas has got Peugeot in the Alfa Romeo for a podium position. This is extraordinary that we are seeing, and there is Valtteri Bottas, and he is being passed by Max Verstappen. Don't know how much damage potentially that Bottas has sustained. But the safety car and these cars coming into pits, well, they've got more pit stops ahead in some of these cars that are due to come. Of course, you have to change your tyre compound. It's been a rule which has been hotly debated whether they will be sticking with this going forward. And there goes Ocon, Matsushita, and Joy will come into the pits. Let's have a look at the pit stop for Ocon. He's gone onto hard tyres, so Ocon has hoping to go long and wanting if there be more pit stops in this race as we go on. And that is Matsushita. He's also gone onto hard compound tyres, so has Zoe. So George Russell is second, Carlos Sainz is third in the McLaren. Nico Hülkenberg continues to lead, and the racing is as fierce as anything, as Mick Schumacher having a real sniff and trying to get himself round the side of Valtteri Bottas, who qualified in pole position, but it has all fallen apart for Bottas. Lewis Hamilton, of course, doesn't have to stop. He is on that medium compound, but in traffic, Dan Mustaine struggles heavily to be able to maintain the pace that it didn't at, say, Monaco when it was leading. And now is another French moment to savour. Ricciardo's trying to have a look and get past Valtteri Bottas. So is Giovinazzi, who's looking to try and get through both McLarens side by side. Safety car is off, and Ricciardo is out of the French Grand Prix. Oh, would you believe it?
Oh, what happened here is... Bottas, that wasn't particularly clean, was it? He had him. Oh dear. Ricciardo's not going to be happy with that.
Sole loser.
I'd be inclined to agree there.
How unfortunate for Daniel Ricciardo, who's out of the French Grand Prix, his team's hometown Grand Prix. He bows out.
Both cars to the box. That is both cars to the box. 2 pit stops this lap.
Well, a double pit stop's been called by the team principal Chris Whiteman of Ravenwest. That has happened. Hülkenberg is in. Can they get the pits done quick enough so they don't hold up Mick Schumacher? They've done it, so Schumacher will have a clean run, and all the cars that are being held up at the moment. So in this that's taking place at the moment, I can tell you right now that Lewis Hamilton has found himself leading the French Grand Prix. He's already pitted. It depends how long those medium tyres will go, as the Williams also make a change. And Hülkenberg is straight away now able to... Well, he's chasing down Lewis Hamilton at an extraordinary rate after that. But what a great bit of pit work that's done. Schumacher is up to 7th, and has only got Max Yoshida to chase down. And you fancy potentially in that Ravenwest, that Bugatti power, that Schumacher might have a lot. But what a bit of strategy that was by Hamilton to bring himself in. But already he's under severe pressure as the safety car is set up, and Hülkenberg has called him up very quickly, and maybe just send him a little message to let him know that you may be leading, but at the moment that I've got a little bit more power behind me than perhaps you have, Lewis Hülkenberg might be saying.
Well, the early call by Hamilton to immediately ditch the soft compound tyres is suddenly looking like a strategic masterstroke by putting himself in first place for this exact scenario. Of course, the main thing with Hülkenberg here is that he built up such a lead being off on his own, was able to pit and stay ahead of everyone else barring Hamilton, so both strategies working out really well there. But we've got another jumbled order, and a lot of people have gone for the hard compound tyres, so a lot of people trying to stick it out to the end of the race. Schumacher on mediums, Verstappen on mediums, and Grosjean on mediums as potential wildcards. Obviously Hamilton is on older mediums than everyone else, so what he pits for, when he pits for, will be a good question, or questions in themselves. But strategy wise, this is fascinating, as we're just under the halfway mark in this Grand Prix, and it's been full of it, hasn't it? All sorts. If you wanted it, you've got it in this race. Crashes, unpredictable order, various race leaders, it's got it all.
It has been highly unpredictable, and it always makes for good motor racing. Of course, the strategy which you may be looking if you're in Lewis Hamilton's camp is, can they hang on the mediums for another 6 or 7 laps and maybe have a blast of soft compounds to finish the race? The question is, can Lewis Hamilton build up a big enough gap? And it's going to be very difficult to do with Nico Hülkenberg, who really has come back with a vengeance this season in the Ravenwest. And there is Mick Schumacher sitting right by Matsushita. In the old days, Matsushita would have been the final point scorer, but now it's the top 10 that score. And George Russell was onto the hard tyres, and he sits in 10th place, and we're watching Valtteri Bottas just waiting for his moment to try and break in. That's Russell ahead of him, George Russell in the McLaren. So this is going to be a key factor in this. So 4th time we've had a safety car, 3 times the car has been out, driven by Ewan McIntyre. Once we've had a virtual safety car available, that Mercedes of course, which I remind you is being driven at the absolute limit, the absolute maximum capability that it has, and that is a key factor in this, that car's going flat out, and That's not a cheap car. And sitting right behind is these Formula 1 cars. You could probably do with them going a little bit quicker, to be fair. That's because they've got to keep heat in their tyres, heat in the brakes. And the thing you always say with a Formula 1 car and the downforce setup that you have in it is when you do want these cars to take a corner, you have to go far faster than you thought possible in your normal road cars. For what for you and I could be a normal corner, which you may do at 30 mile an hour, some of these cars can go at 3 times that limit. And at that point, they're just starting to get going, and that's where they get all their grip from. And the tyres are designed to work hot, and that's where they go ahead and almost act as a layer of glue onto the tarmac, and that's what keeps them going. And they've got those big fins at the front and the rear spoiler, which will be sucking the car down onto the deck. Of course, this will be one of these circuits in which you don't have a huge amount of downforce, just down to the bases at the moment, that you've got 4 very fast straight sections. And the cars themselves, particularly coming out of turn 7, will be doing over 200 miles an hour before they brake.
Safety car in.
So the safety car is in, and we're back under again. You know the drill. Let's get racing again at the Paul Ricard circuit. Lewis Hamilton has got Nico Hülkenberg sitting behind him. They're both on medium tyres, but Hülkenberg is on fresh medium tyres, and that could be a key moment for Hülkenberg. Can he go ahead and go the rest of the race on these mediums? If he can, well, what a brilliant call that was. Lewis Hamilton, though, if he can make these last, he will be an absolute hero today. But it's going to be so difficult to do with Hülkenberg sitting behind you. And the two of them at the moment are racing heavily. Now they accelerate flat out through turn 7, and they will pick themselves up to their maximum speed. No DRS at the moment with these two cars. This is pure mechanical power. This is pure mechanical grip and old-fashioned slipstream, and it's enough for Hülkenberg to try to squeeze through. But Lewis Hamilton comes back and finds a way to get past Hülkenberg again, who's just got his nose ahead. And in that entire battle, it's led Sainz and Ocon to also be, and then we're 4 abreast as we make our way through. That's incredible! There goes the McLaren! There goes the McLaren out of the race. Sainz is out of the race. Oh, there goes, and Hülkenberg is caught out. And just what on earth happened there? They were 4 across the circuit, and 2 have gone through. And Sainz is out, and Hülkenberg, oh, disastrous!
Well, 4 into 1 just simply do not go, and well, it's happened. It's been threatening to happen. These cars have been racing freely like this all race, and we've had plenty of accidents. And again, oh, look at that. And well, Hülkenberg, well, he's got away with that a little bit. He's got damage, probably, most definitely on that front wing, but well, that was the perfect scenario for Lewis Hamilton, really. But although he's going straight into the pits, he's taking this opportunity now with 2 of his main contenders out, as is Ocon, to into the pits. And look who's going to be leading.
Would you believe this? Lando Norris is leading the French Grand Prix. Lewis
Hamilton
and Schumacher now, he's leading, so Schumacher's got past, and we're waiting to see where that brings out Hamilton. And another lock up, and there goes Russell. Oh, would you believe this? Would you believe this?
Vettel's hit him.
There goes Vettel. Vettel has taken a huge knock and looks to have damage to his front wing. There goes part of it, running across like a hay bale in an old western, flying across our screen. Disastrous. Would you believe this? Well, we apologise if you heard any untoward language in that radio exchange. But incredibly now, we've only got 13 drivers running in this French Grand Prix, and we've got 10 laps to go. Sebastian Vettel needs a new nose cone. He's got damage and he is being passed at the moment. There goes Grosjean, and there is Latifi sitting behind. And there will also be Lewis Hamilton catching him very shortly. To remind you, he's in 12th place because he has pitted. But we'll have to see if there's any damage at the moment to Hülkenberg's car. He's back up to 3rd, and his teammate Schumacher, who won the opening race, is leading at the moment. So Ravenwest are on for 1st and 3rd as things stand. But this is going to be a very, very tense 10 laps ahead. You want to from a strategic standpoint, potentially, has Lewis got it wrong. But now this is going to be the key moment.
Schumacher was 15th at the start of this race. Now look at him. Norris as well. These 2 guys were way down the grid, and now they're 1 and 2.
Lando Norris is a very popular man among the grid, and to get that Alfa Romeo onto a potential podium position would be outstanding for them. The exposure, the points, and points mean prizes in Formula 1, and prizes means more funding, and that'll be key at the moment for Norris. Can he do that? This is Hulkenberg, and have to watch to see how he goes with Max Verstappen behind him. Was that car damage in an exchange that put Sainz out? We shall have to wait and see. But already at the moment it seems to be that Max Verstappen certainly seems to be quicker, and it does look as though there is damage potentially to that Ravenwest car.
Well, he's missing an end plate from that front wing from the collision earlier, but that straight line speed is just about holding him on these straight parts. The corners are going to be real tricky for him, but that Bugatti power will certainly give him the edge on the straights here. If he can get DRS assistance from the car in front, as Giovinazzi's all over the back of Verstappen here now.
So Giovinazzi, who once set the fastest lap in this race in last season's Mercedes, is flying at the moment, and he's really on a side-by-side ding-dong at the moment with Max Verstappen, and Valtteri Bottas, that started pole, is sitting behind him in 6th place. Lewis Hamilton is up to 11th. We've got past Esteban Ocon. We have 9 laps to go of the French Grand Prix. If Lewis Hamilton is to get anything from this, he needs to get his right foot down on the loud pedal and start flying past people. But at the moment this is quite incredible, as we're watching Joy and Latifi battling one each other for 9th position. But a lot has got to be said for the brilliant work of Alfa Romeo and for Lando Norris. He's such a popular man on this circuit, and for him to be sitting in 2nd place would be absolutely outstanding performance for them. But it's going to be a challenge at the moment if he can hold off Hulkenberg, and the Bugatti power is no match for Alfa Romeo. 2 original constructors back from 1950, now going at it again in 2022, and there is the 13 remaining drivers here today this afternoon. So Schumacher leads, Hulkenberg is 2nd, Ravenwest 1 and 2, Lando Norris in the Alfa Romeo is 3rd, but Max Verstappen sitting behind him, and I'm not sure Norris has got enough in that car to be able to hold off Max Verstappen, maybe able to catch him. Giovinazzi is 5th, Bottas is 6th, Sergio Perez is sitting in 7th, Romain Grosjean is 8th, a French driver sitting in the points. Zhang Joy is 9th, Nicholas Latifi in the Isle of Williams is 10th, Lewis Hamilton is 11th, and Lewis at one point was leading, and it's all sort of fallen apart. But here goes Max Verstappen, who should have too much power, does have too much power, and gets through. And now you realistically think that stopping Mick Schumacher winning this race is going to be a form of the Flying Dutchman in Max Verstappen.
Well, he is absolutely flying at the minute. No real trouble there with Lando Norris. Has very much had a fantastic race, but Verstappen on those medium tyres is going to have more grip. He's certainly going to have more grip than Hulkenberg in the corners. His front wing is very much compromised. But anything goes at this point. As you can see there, look, so many non-finishers at the minute. Russell all the way down to Stroll, 14th beyond or out. Vettel is 25 seconds down on Ocon, so he's really out of contention of points at this point. Hamilton is all over the back of Zhou as well, so he could be looking to get some points, or at least a point. But it's anyone's game for 7 laps to go. Verstappen is on the charge.
Of course, let's not forget Hulkenberg has that damage, so in terms of his car, well, what will be the decision here? The question is here, will team orders be called at this point? Will Schumacher be ordered to let Hulkenberg through and allow Hulkenberg to extend his lead in the championship? Or will Chris Whiteman let these 2 guys just race it out, but sensibly, you'd hope?
Well, to be honest, Hulkenberg's in a damaged car. I don't think you can let a damaged car lead the Grand Prix unless it's obviously quicker, and at the moment Schumacher's just getting further and further away, so I think we may well be beyond team orders at this point. I think his decision to make is, does he pit Hulkenberg maybe for a fresh front wing and maybe soft tyres at this point, or does he try and hang it out with that damaged wing and be at risk of being overtaken by 4 or 5 different cars and lose out on major points, given that his fight for the championship is very much on the line here?
Well, in order to make into these tactical and calculated decision whilst racing, the master of that was a man known as Alain Prost. People called him the Professor, for the simple fact that suddenly you wouldn't see him for a couple of races and then his car would show up, and famously said that sometimes when he was racing, he'd pick and choose the races he thought he could win, and it'd be damage and imitation at others. Big call has been made at the moment by the Ravenwest. Nico Hulkenberg's been pulled in, and I think he's going for the strategy you suggested there, Trevor. Let's have a look and wait and see. We'll have a look to see what the compound tyres are set up. Are they going to go and replace the damage he's got on that front wing. Yes, they are. Softs are going in. So Hulkenberg is going to go for an absolute charge of these final few races. So he's decided to go, and there is Zhou flying past us. Latifi and Hamilton is also. So Hulkenberg has come out in 11th place. Max Verstappen is now in 2nd. Giovinazzi is 3rd. There's Esteban Ocon. So Hulkenberg confirmation is out in 11th. He's got 6 laps to pass 10 cars to win this. Realistically, it's about damage limitation for him and to win back as many points as he can in this race. And there is Latifi, and he has Joy ahead of him, and the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton sitting right behind him. And Lewis Hamilton may be thinking this is the opportunity for him to make that passes. We are watching the light fade slightly here, and it is starting to get a little bit more dusky, and there is a potential that we may or may not see rain. We shall have to wait and see. But Hamilton is through into 9th place, and he's got Zhang Joy ahead of him. And now Hulkenberg, fresh tyres, new front nose cone, real power available. And does he fancy a move on 3 cars? No, just the 2. Lewis Hamilton ahead of him. And from Lewis, maybe thinking at the moment to let the quicker car through and use him as a bit of a slipstream to keep going. But at the moment here, Hulkenberg has got himself up to 8th, and he's got Romain Grosjean ahead of him in the Red Bull. 22 laps of 27, 13 cars remaining. You can see all the retirements that we have had this afternoon, and Sebastian Vettel there in 13th. Doesn't look like that he really is going to challenge for the race, as that was a shot of Max Verstappen. And Antonio Giovinazzi in 3rd place, who has got past Lando Norris, who now has Bottas sitting behind him. Perez has got past Grosjean and maintained that 6th place. And the 2 of those are having an absolute fabulous battle at the moment. Perez and Grosjean, real old rivals from yonder year, going side by side in the Red Bull and the Williams. Of course, the Red Bull itself, Genesis dates back to the Minardi, and dates back of the Toro Rosso, which were always known as the Ferrari B car to a certain extent. But we're now watching the the Red Bull, and battling away. And a pass being made by Lando Norris. And a brilliant pass made by Lando Norris, who suddenly found a bit of pace and has got past Giovinazzi, and now finds himself in 3rd place. And brilliant work there by the Englishman.
Yeah, Norris just catching the slipstream of Giovinazzi and catching him napping going into that corner. This is looking like a 3-way fight for 3rd place. I feel like Verstappen's probably run off into the sunset with 2nd place, trying to desperately catch Schumacher. But at the moment, the fight for 3rd is the fascinating one, as well as how far up can Hulkenberg get. He's got quite a good 10-second gap to bridge on Perez at last check. Although apparently he's made up a good chunk of that 10 seconds on Perez. Those super soft tyres really working. He's bridged the gap there. As you can see, there's a gap between Perez and Grosjean of 12 seconds after that. So he's got quite the bridge the gap to get anywhere near the top 5, let alone the top 3.
Well, the question is here from Hulkenberg is he does have the fresher tyres, and he's able to get past Perez easily. It's how quickly can he get past Grosjean? And with fresh air in front of him, no traffic, and that Bugatti can really start to pick up some speed, could Hulkenberg potentially be able to get down and charge down Valtteri Bottas. But the Bugatti power in a straight line suits it quite perfectly. That's why we have not seen a lot of Mick Schumacher. He's shot so far into the distance, even the TV directors here in France can't keep up with him. That's how quick Mick Schumacher's going. Max Verstappen is in 2nd place, and Giovinazzi leads Lando Norris for 3rd place. And Bottas is also involved in this little 3-way duel for the final podium position, and you suspect this is where most of the drama will happen. Hulkenberg has the fastest lap, and he will need to continue to pick fastest lap after fastest lap. The question is, he's got just under 4.5 laps to do this. He needs to lap somewhere between 3 to 4 seconds quicker per lap to be able to really put in a huge amount of distance. It's not something which is possible. As these cars start to lose weight and they start to pick up, you can certainly do that, and you can already see that from Hulkenberg. You can see there that he's accelerated away, but still the gap itself is around about 9 to 10 seconds on Bottas. So Bottas might just have enough to lap 24, 27, French Grand Prix here at the Paul Ricard circuit. Reminder of the top three. Mick Schumacher is leading. He started 15th after a 10-place grid penalty. Max Verstappen is in second place in the Red Bull, looking to get his championship challenge back on track after what's been a difficult first half of the season for the Red Bull side. And the battle for third place is on your screens at the moment. This is Antonio Giovinazzi in the Racing Point. He is leading Lando Norris in the Alfa Romeo and Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes, and one of these three drivers will take home, you feel realistically this afternoon, the final podium spots of what has been so far a quite excellent Grand Prix. There's been so much action. It's the record amount of retirements we've seen on the rise of Ravenwest this season at the moment, and there is a key moment because there is another key pass for Lando Norris, who's able to find himself past Giovinazzi. The question is, can he hold him off? Lando Norris will hope that this is the opportunity to try and bridge out a bit of a gap, but at the moment here the Alfa Romeo, while it may have aerodynamic stability, is lacking a bit of power, and the Racing Point is finding a way to make its way through quite often. Come round to turn 15 to start another lap and to go fly through, and there is the key moment for Norris. Can he find enough speed, and can he go ahead and hold off Giovinazzi? Doesn't look like it, because into the inside goes Giovinazzi, but Norris isn't giving way, and we've seen so many accidents today as these cars have been so aggressive, try to find their way through, but Norris has been able to gain that position back, and this is going to be very close. And look at that, was that Nico Hülkenberg catching?
I think it was.
Well, would you believe this? Nico Hülkenberg has suddenly entered into the picture for a driver challenging, and he, dare I say it, very much is putting all chance to finding every ounce of speed that he can. 3 cars ahead of him, and that could make 2 cars on the podium for the Ravenwest, and certainly out the bonus of the team principal for them, Chris Whiteman. Lewis Hamilton has got past Sergio Perez, so Hamilton is into 8th place, but realistically for Lewis Hamilton, that early pit stop hasn't really worked out for him as much as he'd hoped. Had he made 1 pit stop today, Lewis Hamilton could well have been in a much stronger position, but that hasn't come to fruition. And what has been a topsy-turvy French Grand Prix, and there goes Hülkenberg round the outside trying to get past Valtteri Bottas, and doing so. Where is Hülkenberg finding this pace from? It's hard compound versus soft compound, but that Ravenwest is flying in. Now at the moment there's Lando Norris ahead of him, and they come through to go through lap 26. We've got 2 laps left. Hülkenberg here right now has got Norris and Giovinazzi ahead of him. Normally you would say that's 2 back markers, need to get out of the way. Not today. These 2 have been outstanding, but Nico Hülkenberg has been the driver this season, and could this be the moment for him where he finally gets it all together, because he's done it so often this season and comes so close. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get the race win. Can he get the next podium? Bottas there was cut off. Now we watch the 2 cars break through into turn 7, absolutely flat out. Goes a slightly different line to some of the drivers there, Hülkenberg, but uses almost like the wideness of the car to slingshot round. The cars themselves will be 8th gear and doing 200 miles an hour, just there or thereabouts. Now it's a real chance to braking late. There he goes past Norris. Hülkenberg is through. Now at the moment is Antonio Giovinazzi for 3rd place, and Hülkenberg has pulled off an absolutely brilliant strategy to do so, but he's been passed back at the moment by Norris, so Hülkenberg is back in 5th place, and Lando Norris now has suddenly come up with a brilliant bit of overtaking, and we're waiting through to start the final lap of this Grand Prix. When we do, this little 4-way battle for 3rd place that 2 laps ago wasn't even possible. As we started lap 22, Nico Hülkenberg was 10 seconds behind this chasing back. He has set some of the fastest laps that you have seen at the Paul Ricard circuit on race pace. At the moment, he's got the guile and craft of Lando Norris and Antonio Giovinazzi ahead, and that looks to be a problem for Norris. He's gone slightly wide, and Hülkenberg is in raw drag race at the moment between 2 engines to find the right amount of power. Bottas is also getting involved, and Bottas has got past Norris, and Norris here, oh, would you feel for him? It's gone from 2nd down to 6th at the moment. Hülkenberg is picking up pace and is now eyeing up Antonio Giovinazzi. This is the final lap of the Grand Prix. and for a chance to get a podium for Hulkenberg, he's got to find a way past Giovinazzi, and this will be the key moment really for the entire season, because all these points add up to so much. A circuit in which they're predicted that Ravenwest will do so well. That accident which Hulkenberg up to recover back to third will feel like a race win, and this is the moment he gets it. He's going to brake later, he's going to turn sharper, he's going to have a little bit more. Oh, there's Bottas trying to get himself past Giovinazzi. Bottas trying to, now with Valtteri Bottas going to ruin Hulkenberg's party. The fight for third place, it's these four cars, they're three abreast through, and Bottas has come through, and suddenly Hulkenberg is sixth, Giovinazzi is fourth, Norris is fifth. This is incredible, the final few laps, past two, brilliantly done, Hulkenberg is through, and now he's going to chase down Valtteri Bottas, and Mick Schumacher is going to come through and win the French Grand Prix. Outstanding race for the son of the great world champion, his second win of this season. Valtteri and Max Verstappen is going to come through in second place to take second place. As for third place, well, hold your breath, we're going to find out very shortly. It'll be a straight sprint from this position at the moment. Will it be a chance for Hulkenberg to get past Bottas? It's close, but it is Bottas that takes third place, and I suspect it's by half a car length. Deadly close. Giovinazzi comes fifth. Lando Norris drove one of the best races he's done for a long time to take sixth place, and there is Sergio Perez in the Williams, and a brilliant moment for Williams Motor Racing. They have a Formula 1 World Championship point, but there is a man that has all 25, the race winner.
Winner, chicken's dinner, right?
Indeed, mate, indeed. Great drive today, mate. Absolutely superb. Hey, at least you called the race strategy right. Let half the field take each other out and we'll just saunter on through to get the race win. Nice one.
That's true. Thanks, boys.
Well, Mick Schumacher could be very proud. Lando Norris getting the driver of the day. And, quite rightly too, to be voted with that. What a fabulous moment for Chris Whiteman and the Ravenwest side. And it was a brilliant race this afternoon. Mick Schumacher, the winner, and what an outstanding race that he had. The strategy was bold, it was called at the right time of what was one of those races that was so unpredictable you dare take your eyes off it. I seriously hope you haven't. There's your race winner, Mick Schumacher, carrying on his father's legacy, raising the trophy up high and celebrating with Ravenwest. A race winner. There you see John Stuttart on the podium for them, celebrating in the pit crew. Brilliant by Mick Schumacher. Verstappen there to celebrate. What a moment that'll be, Verstappen, and getting Red Bull's championship challenge back in track. But an outstanding performance. Well, that was a race that will live long in the memory, particularly for Mick Schumacher. Started 15th and in 2 stops found his way to win the Grand Prix. Quite outstanding. Max Verstappen, second place after starting 6th. Will be delighted, but he finished 8.5 seconds behind Mick Schumacher in the end. Valtteri Bottas, well, how much did he take that race by? Well, ended up being 0.05 of a second. Nico Hulkenberg, though, set the fastest lap, lapping nearly 3 seconds quicker than the race winner. Only fourth for Hulkenberg. Antonio Giovinazzi came in 5th, and after starting 21st and finishing 6th, Alfa Romeo's Lando Norris producing one of the all-time great drives. Just one stop, a bold call, but it paid through. Romain Grosjean on home soil finished 7th in the end. Lewis Hamilton that started 2nd had a pretty disastrous race in the end, 25 seconds off the pace, only to claim 8th. Esteban Ocon, he was the other Frenchman in the French car. He finished in the end 9th after starting 10th. And Sergio Perez himself will be very pleased in the end to finish 10th after starting 20th. And for Williams, who at long last have a point here in Formula 1 this season.
Well, look at the state of the DNFs there. Everyone from 14th downwards out of the race. It was quite incredible scenario that we had here today. Very much something out of the late 80s and early 90s with the amount of DNFs we had today. But what a race it was, and fantastic performance by both Alfa Romeos, both Williams. It left the door open for some shock points, and we did see a fantastic performance by a unanimous driver of the day in Lando Norris. What a performance by him. It's something about Schumachers and France, isn't it? They like to win here, and carrying on the tradition.
Well, there is always a bit of a legacy here. 8 drivers retiring today, the most retirements we've seen on your telly, until potentially you tune into the next session of Prime Minister's Question Time. At the moment, though, this looks to be a day in which maybe savoured by Mick Schumacher, could be celebrated by Nick Hulkenberg, but it'll be absolutely elated for the brilliant drive by Lando Norris. As for the World Championship, a 24-point lead Nico Hulkenberg has over his teammate Mick Schumacher. It's starting to look like a battle between the two Ravenwest drivers for the championship this season. Valtteri Bottas has got past Lewis Hamilton to go into 3rd position. It's just by a single point, but Bottas has certainly had the edge over Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo, despite retiring today, remains in 5th for Renault. Max Verstappen will be absolutely delighted to get points on the board back into 6th place. He does though have a challenge. He sits 45 points behind Nico Hulkenberg that leads the World Championship. Roman Grosjean will be very pleased to go ahead and sit in 7th. Anton Giovinazzi, his brilliant performance moves him up to 9th in the tally. George Russell's rotten luck continues. He remains down in 10th. Biggest climber, of course, is Lando Norris with 9 World Championship points. And Sergio Perez is through, leaving us with just Nicolas Latifi, Alex Albon and Zhang Zhuyi as the only 3 drivers yet to score any points this season. From a constructor's standpoint, Ravenwest lead Mercedes by 43 points, who are the only other side in this 11-team championship to have break the 3-digit mark. Red Bull Racing remain 3rd, and Renault have overtaken Ferrari to take 4th. Haas have dropped back and Alfa Romeo move up. Williams, once again, get out of the wooden spoon by finally getting points this season. Ferrari will feel slightly disappointed, but they definitely sit bottom of the top 5. The midfield looks to be a tight battle at the moment, and McLaren will feel disappointed that he's sitting there. McLaren themselves have had some rotten luck this season. From Ravenwest Motorsports, 170 points. Could they be on for the 4-in-1 double, the Drivers' and Constructors' World Championship this season? So an afternoon, Formula 1 racing fans will never forget a brilliant race that took place here at the Paul Ricard circuit. 8 retirements, there was 5 safety cars, there was drama, there was controversy, but in the correct kind. There was also some brilliant overtaking and an outstanding drive that took place today. Congratulations to Mick Schumacher, that is our winner. Congratulations to Nico Hulkenberg, that continues his grip on the World Championship, and to Lando Norris from 21st to 6th, one of the finest drives, and definitely a night in which on the French Riviera everybody in Alfa Romeo can celebrate. As for us, well, we're back next for Austria to bring you the next round as the rise from Ravenwest. If you haven't done so, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notifications to let us know when we're going next here on the Virtual Sport Network. From myself and from everyone else involved, we thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.